topic for this meeting, agenda item number 4 about titanium dioxide. So we move to the presentation of the objection, starting with Michel Rivasi from the Greens.
Oui, alors c'est une objection.
This is an objection with respect to the Commission decision. You know that titanium dioxide has been banned in France because the National Food Safety Agency has carried out a study which showed that it is carcinogenic and that there's no value added for the consumer, and that with respect to the design of the product, there's absolutely no value added for the consumer. All animal studies have shown the toxic effect of these nanoparticles of titanium oxide. So I think it's very important that all the colleagues should vote in favour of this objection to ban titanium dioxide throughout Europe.
Thank you. The speaker for SND is not there today, so we move to Eleonora Evi for non-attached.
Grazie, Presidente.
Thank you, Chair. Today we're discussing a substance for which not very much is actually known, titanium dioxide, which is better known as E171. It's a food colorant used in sweets, ice creams, chocolates, biscuits, etc., pastries, something that all our European citizens consume on a regular basis. However, various tests carried out by consumer associations, including Italian associations, have shown high levels of nanoparticles of titanium dioxide. Without this additive, however, being put on the packaging of the product, it's made of nanoparticles, very small in dimension, and they can actually penetrate the protective areas of our body. They can get into the liver, the lungs, the digestive system, even the DNA. More and more studies are calling into question the safety of this food additive and risks for consumers, particularly for children. If titanium dioxide is only used for aesthetic reasons in foods, it has no nutritional activity, it doesn't have any positive qualities, the Commission therefore should use the precautionary principle and should ban the use of this where there are too many uncertainties on the consumer. This should apply across the board in the EU. Thank you.
Thank you. For ID, Joël Mélin.
Oui, merci.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank you for having dealt with this matter so diligently following my raising the matter on the 13th of July, leading to this objection. However, first of all, we're to remind the administration and the Commission that objecting to their decisions is a fundamental right of members. I'd like to also thank all colleagues who made it possible for this alert to then allow this objection to be raised and voted on today. As we've heard, in terms of substance, E171 is carcinogenic. It's carried through nanoparticles, but also probably personal toxic effects. Consumers do not want this anymore. It's just used for aesthetic reasons. Can I remind you that paracetamol, that's the most widely consumed drug in France, it also contains a lot of E171. After the ban in France, it became apparent that in the industry they had alternatives. The precautionary principle as used in France should spread throughout the rest of Europe. Because if that isn't the case, there could be unfair competition against French companies who may no longer use E171. Like Madame Rivasi and other colleagues, I believe we will all vote in favour of this objection because it is really time for us to adopt this once and for all. Thank you.
Eric Andrieux.
Eric Andrieux is here, so I'll give him the floor.
Oui, merci, Monsieur.
Thank you, Chair. I apologise for my delay. I was in ComAgri. So unfortunately, I didn't hear what's been said. I hope I don't repeat anyone. But as has just been said, I think the European Parliament should enact a ban on titanium dioxide. So I believe the objection is quite right. This product, this substance E171, it's used for whitening or to make colours seem more shiny. It's present in many different food products. And those of us who like pastries, we've seen it. It's also in cosmetics, paint and medicines. Several international studies have shown that these nanoparticles of titanium dioxide can penetrate the body's barriers and can even get into the blood. We also know that they can lead to carcinogenic lesions. Despite this alarming situation in Europe, this additive, which is completely useless, pointless, it is present across the board. Our children, your children, eat it every day through the sweets or the toothpaste they use. I think probably most of us in this room have probably taken a paracetamol where this E171 is widely used to guarantee that it's white. We've all been exposed to it, we adults and our children. So eating, taking medicines, cosmetics. I think it's important to say this. I believe it's completely unacceptable that this product is used here. It's paradoxical. And today we know that we are incurring such risks. So I believe we need to vote in favour of the precautionary principle. We talk a lot of it in agriculture and the environment. Our role then as members is to work for the general interest and rights of citizens. There's too much endangering citizens' health, and it's for us now as members to put an end to this once and for all.
For the EPP, Madame Novak. She's not there, so we move to Mick Wallace for the GUE.
Thanks very much, President. I've rarely seen so much agreement in here, which has to be unusual. The Commission's draft regulation is intended to amend the 2012 regulation, which lays down specifications for food additives, but it fails to address very serious problems with the use of titanium dioxide as a food additive. France introduced a ban on the sale of foodstuffs containing titanium dioxide in January this year. And since 2006, the WHO's International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified titanium dioxide as a possible human carcinogen. The US National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health says exposure to ultrafine titanium dioxide should be considered a potential occupational carcinogen. In its scientific opinion on the 28th of June 2016, the European Food Safety Authority said the lack of data in relation to titanium dioxide hindered a full risk assessment of it. It's also important to state that this lack of data derives partly from manufacturers failing to provide it. What we are asking for with this resolution is that the Commission apply the precautionary principle. The precautionary principle is one of the fundamental principles of the EU as set out in the treaties. We should follow France's lead, ban the use of titanium dioxide in foodstuffs immediately. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We move to the EPP, Peter Liese.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to jump in as Maria Spiraki couldn't obviously make it. We discussed it in the EPP group. And I have one question to the Commission, and maybe the second question is to the Commission, but at the same time to the Chair. So first of all, to the Commission. For the EPP, of course, we like to support the Commission. We follow the scientific advice of EFSA and other scientific bodies of the European Union, but we have some questions still, so we are not yet convinced. The Commission itself proposed a label that titanium dioxide is cancerogenic, and it is not easy to understand why for food there seems to be no problem, because you also have application as a powder in the food sector. And did the Commission look at it, or the scientific bodies, and what is the answer? So we have questions, and we are open also for supporting this initiative, but maybe in a different way. So that leads me to the second question. We have to go to plenary someday. Formally, the deadline expires already this week. So what is the intention of the Commission when the committee supports the objection? Will you withdraw it and present a new proposal, or will you give us another deadline so that we can do it for plenary? And the question is also to the Chair, because we had a similar occasion. ENVI is not the plenary, so we need to go to plenary to have a real position of the Parliament, but the deadline expires. So what is the way out to the Commission and to the Chair? What can we do? Thank you.
Thank you. You're right to say that ENVI is not yet the plenary, but we are working hard on it. Well, of course, that will be also a question for the Commission to know what will be the next steps, knowing that we are in a sort of hybrid process. And that's why we need to vote tomorrow. And if ever the objection is voted, then there will be, I hope that there will be a political dialogue with the Commission, but that's for the next minutes. Before going to the Commission, we have a last speaker, Véronique Trier-Lenoir for Renew.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Chairman. A lot has been said. This product is only used to make foodstuffs appear whiter, more shiny. It has zero positive food impacts or positive health impacts. It's carcinogenic. That's more likely, and it's been proved. So why do we allow European citizens to consume a product that doesn't give them any benefits and could in fact be dangerous? Quite apart from this position based on the precautionary principle, Renew Europe will support this objection because we do not wish to allow 6 months by way of derogation to the food companies for them to sell their stock. That wouldn't be fair either to the citizen nor to the companies, which have already been able to do without this product amongst their range. Furthermore, we do not want to take half measures. We have to be ambitious and strict by having an outright ban on foodstuffs, sweets and toothpaste, but also cosmetics and medicines, because, yes, as Mr. Andrieu has said, titanium dioxide is widely used in treatments which paradoxically are supposed to be good for us. That's why we asked that you support this objection to amend the regulation to have a complete ban on any use of titanium dioxide in our foodstuffs with no transition period, and in any case a much shorter period than that was proposed. Of course, we reiterate the wish that we would like to have the new risk assessment from EFSA as soon as possible, hoping that it will be ready by March 2021. I'm sure you'll understand that the Renew Group supports this objection.
Merci. So we move to the Commission. Mr. Gautret.
hear me? Yep. Good afternoon, and thanks for giving me the floor. I will continue in French, if you don't mind. Tout d'abord, sur la procédure.
First of all, on procedure, I would like to remove one misunderstanding. The Commission only had one intention. There was no intention to create some kind of exemption for the Envy Committee or the Parliament on this technical matter. It just so happened that we voted on the 26th of May, and we were unable to transmit this to the Parliament before the 9th of July because there was an agreement between the Parliament and the Commission on the non-transmission of this type of text, and no one realized. So only 2 months later, in scrutiny, a scrutiny process that took 2 months and not 3, did we realize that the exemption would pass before the Envy Committee was able to speak on it. So basically, if the objection is voted by the Envy Committee, we can withdraw the objection and then resubmit it. So this is a response to your letter to the Commission that made it clear that this is a very important position for you, and we want complete cooperation with the Parliament. So unlike what has been expected, I would like to clarify that this amendment is very technical, and it's only about the specifications of the product as it is marketed. So when it comes to toothpaste and cosmetics, it doesn't apply, although titanium dioxide is used in those products. We believe that the amendment is useful and necessary because it allows us to better specify the specifications of the product as it is put on the market. So we will be more familiar with, and we will have a more clear definition of what is on the market with more strict limitations when it comes to impurities for a certain number of heavy metals, and I think no one would be against that. And then there will also be a maximum proportion of nanoparticles authorized, and so that would be a de facto prohibition on certain products that would not meet the characteristics that we set. So there have been studies in Italy or other countries that show that there's over 50% level of nanoparticles in some titanium dioxide, and these products would become illegal without or by virtue of this amendment. So they would no longer be on the market, and authorities would have to prohibit their use. So this is the first time that we are setting a maximum percentage of nanoparticles in food additives. So this is progress. It's also the first time that we'll be using the new EFSA guidelines on scientific evaluation of nanoparticles in food products. We think that this is also a sign of true progress on a scientific level. This will allow us to better define these characteristics and specifications. It will also allow better control by the competent authorities. We're giving them the means to act in new ways, and then there are studies currently underway that will also allow us to have more stringent evaluations and thereby strengthen the food products that do continue to use titanium dioxide. I would like to say that there is no real divergence between ANSES and EFSA. ANSES opinion does recommend that there be a better definition of the quantity of titanium dioxide in food products, and I assure you that I am doing my best to make sure that the EFSA opinion that should have taken place at the end of December, now because of COVID-19, we're hoping for an EFSA opinion on all of these studies that will set a daily dose by the end of March 2021. But as I was saying, this is a joint recommendation both from EFSA and ANSES. So the Committee of Member States that is talking about. There's no country objected to this measure that would give a better definition of the product. This was also the opinion expressed by member states. For member states, for the vast majority, EFSA guidelines must remain the reference and be used for the evaluation of food products, because there are a certain number of criteria that are required for a product to be authorized as a food additive or as a coloring agent. We can say that coloring agents serve no purpose. I don't know that that is true. I don't know if anyone wants to eat gray mashed potatoes. There is that the color does play a role in our desire to consume certain products, and the ones that are used in terms of coloring agents, they all respect laws that were laid down by the Council and the Parliament, and the Commission must also respect authorization conditions. But that does not prevent us for strengthening our framework for authorization, and hopefully we will have studies that will permit us to do the work that you're asking for by the end of March, and we'll be able to look at the admissible doses and rethink the quantities, and if there is a risk, we can take the measures that would go along with that. So let me repeat that EFSA considered in its opinion in 2016 and in following opinions that the product does not present health risks as it's currently used, and that also covers children from 12 weeks of age. So we have looked at the potential effects on children older than 12 weeks of age. When it comes to the precautionary principle, I know that some members have used this line or this reasoning. When we use this principle, it's when there are very few principles or studies on a product, but there have been many studies on titanium dioxide. So talking about the precautionary principle would be giving that principle a very, very broad application, and it would then be able to apply to many substances that we use on a daily basis. I would like to remind you that additives must be mentioned on the label. It must be on product packaging, so the consumer is also able to make a choice. And I think that if the consumer believes that coloring agents are useless and titanium dioxide is not justified, the consumer can just choose not to buy these products. So, to summarize, we think that this technical amendment is a step towards greater security in the use of titanium dioxide. But of course, there will be opinions that we will receive by the end of March next year that will allow us to give a clearer definition of the product as it is used in the market, and a better legal framework not only for manufacturers but also for competent authorities to act if a product is not compliant, and will also allow for strengthened scientific evaluation. So, voting against this amendment today would leave us with the status quo. We would not have moved forward towards a better definition, better control, and a better scientific assessment. I think that this amendment will get us there. I think that a broader vision is welcome when we do have the results of the scientific assessments that are currently underway. Thank you very much.
Discussion on this objection, and we move to the opening of the votes. So I declare open the first vote on the objection regarding the titanium dioxide, and also open the vote on the amendments on the draft opinions on the general budget for the EU for the financial year 21, all sections, and on the framework of ethical aspects of artificial intelligence, robotics, and related technologies. The vote will be closed at 8:15, and the result will be circulated as usual. Thank you very much, and see you very soon.
No, I mean, what can we do? Well,
it had to be said clearly. You were very clear about it, but it's bullshit.
pushing. Pushing other people. We do